Hotel, Black Power, your brother Shaka saying Kofa here. And I told you I wanted to discuss some things and talk about this sister, Henrietta Lacks. I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis of the Queen, and then I'm going to go into just a small discussion. This is just something, something a little tidbit to give you a heads up on what's about to come in a few weeks. But Henrietta Lacks, she was born Loretta Pleasant, August the 1st, 1920, and she passed October the 4th, 1951. She was a sister whose cancer cells, were the source of the HeLa cells, which is one of the most important cell lines in medical research ever discovered. The HeLa is a cell line that an immortalized cell line, meaning that the cell never dies. Like all other cells die. And they reproduce themselves. Which are the average cells that we have in our body. After they die eventually. But Henrietta Lacks' cells immortalized, meaning they never died, and they also reproduce among themselves. She was an unwilling donor of these cells from a cancerous tumor biopsy during treatment for her cervical cancer at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, Maryland, the fucking death camp. And speaking of Johns Hopkins, who owned more slaves in Maryland than any slave trader in Maryland. But they name a hospital after him, which is the slaying, which is the fucking slaughterhouse for melanated people. But anyway, in 1951, Henrietta Lacks was diagnosed with cervical cancer at Johns Hopkins. And her cells were cultured by George George G-E-Y. To create the cell known as the HeLa cell, a line which is still used in medical research today. The descendants of slaves and their white masters, she was a descendant of slaves and grew up in Virginia, in the country, out there in Roanoke, Virginia. She gave birth to 3 children. And she married a cousin, David Lacks, in 1941. The family moved to Turner Station in Baltimore County, Maryland, so they could work in Bethlehem Steel down there at Sparrows Point in Baltimore. After Henrietta gave birth to the 5th child, she was diagnosed with the cancer. The tissue samples from her tumors were taken during treatment, and then these samples were subsequently cultured into the HeLa cell line. Even though some information, about the origins of the HeLa cell lines, immortalized cells, were known to researchers after 1970. The Lacks family was so fucked up about this situation because they were not aware that they had took, their mother's cells until 1975. In the intervening years, with knowledge of the cell line's genetic provenance becoming public, the usage of the cells for medical research and for commercial purposes still continue to raise concerns about the privacy and patient rights. In other words, we didn't have any rights, and they just took whatever they wanted from us. And this is just another form of the fucking, organ stealing. This is just another form, of this organ harvesting and this fucking organ stealing. And the Lax family didn't know nothing about this. And matter of fact, they cured polio, which mostly crackers had that disease where they couldn't walk and all this type of shit. And this sister Sales cured polio. They use it in the TB vaccine and for thousands and thousands and thousands of other uses of this sister Sales. I mean, basically just about every melanated person has some parts of this sister Sales, whether it was manufactured through the medicines that they make, to combat diabetes, polio, tuberculosis, and various other illnesses and things of that nature, that the black community, has been plagued with, and the family has, has soothed them tremendously. However, it's an article that the Washington Post recently printed about how the Lax family, the grandchildren and great-grandchildren, are going through a whole bunch of court battles and court proceedings with one another because of the fact that you have a lot of individuals claiming to be related to the Lax family that are not. And so they're going through a lot of court proceedings. When it comes to money, we, become different people. A lot of us become different people. And when you're talking about billions of dollars being involved, regarding Sister Henrietta Lax, who has immortalized cells. I mean, these are cells that reproducing that has never died since you can go all the way back to 1920 when she first came on the planet. That's when her cells were created, when she first came on the planet. And then, the family didn't know about the cells until the late 70s, mid to late 70s. And they're still using these cells in 2017. So, now, you have generations of individuals claiming to be related to this sister. Now they want money. And want control over Henrietta Lax's estate. And I had questioned that. I had to ask some, some professional people, professional melanated people, that's in the medical field, whether by her marrying her own cousin, her first cousin, because they lived together as children, shared the same room, and grew up and married each other. So that was incest. And could that have played a part in triggering some type of, I don't know, could have triggered some type of response to creating an immortalized cell, through incest, because, her entire family was created through incest. I mean, have you ever heard of any black people with the last name Lax? So as a result of the responses that and the answers that I got from the medical professionals stating that no, she was just sent here with those immortalized cells, and everything that took place as far as, those cells being exposed, which was a blessing, However, the failure to inform the family, And that's not including the billions and billions of dollars that these crackers received from Johns Hopkins and from the federal government to further and continue research on various illnesses and vaccines, without the family knowing anything about it. That this sister, this is just a clear example of how all energy is constant. It just changes form. That matter is neither created or destroyed. So this sister is still living. She's living among so many thousands of people, based on her DNA, based on that energy, based on her phenotype and genotype. She is still actively living among thousands of people today. And that's why, we don't know, as the original man and woman, how amazing we are. Science can only gauge just a pinch of the wonders of the melanated human, of the original man and woman, of the planet Earth. And scientists can only gauge just a fraction of what we're capable of doing as the original man and woman. Why you think they don't use? Why you think they use white mice when they do all types of experiments? Because white mice are albino. They have no melanin. And what they do is they work on the non-melanated people who represent and resemble the cracker. The melanated rat needs you can't experiment on a melanated rat because they are totally complete. And the melanated rat resembles us. Excuse me. That's why you never seen any white rats, albino rats in the alley, or in your house, or in some, if you got rats in your house, you don't see any albino rats because they don't have the ability to survive, opposed to the melanated rats that you see everywhere. And they can do anything, crawl just about up any wall, fly. Because what do you think a bat is? A flying rat, a bird rat, bat. So, I mean, the Henrietta Lacks, I really thank that queen, in spite of the hell that she went through, because, the story is about to come out on the 22nd, where Oprah Winfrey plays Henrietta Lacks' daughter, one of her daughters or sisters or something. And it's premiering on HBO April the 22nd. I don't know how much validity is going to be displayed, but if you get the book, and I'll have the book later on today, and I'm going to be digging into that, and I'm going to be touching on certain portions of it, as we go along, prior to the movie premiere and after the movie, so I can do comparative study, to determine what was true in the movie and what was fictionalized and what was sensationalism. So we'll discuss that at a later time. I just wanted to drop that on y'all to let you all know to be looking forward to that. And for those who don't know anything about Henrietta Lacks, you will know a great deal about her because, I believe after the premiere of the movie on the 22nd, they're going to have so many different talk shows and news coverage concerning Henrietta Lacks to receive some of her just due, for her contributions, that was specifically specifically and only designed to help melanated people, but it has helped, you know, people of all colors all over the planet. So, until we meet again, Hotep, Black Power.